at 560theanswer.com.
Listen to podcasts of Joe Walsh and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Dan and Amy, good morning. And President Trump is sending the big guns to the border. I'm not talking about the U.S. Army. I'm talking about TSA.
Oh, yeah.
TSA sending up to 400 workers to the southern border to assist, quote unquote.
Wait, are they going to make people empty their pockets before they come through illegally?
I'll tell you what.
Take off those boots. They might sound the metal detector.
Let me tell you something. If TSA does to migrants what they did to Diana Ross, then we're not going to have any more illegal border crossings.
Exactly. They'll all leave.
So that's the best thing that's the best proposal that's been offered so far, although President Trump is making sort of putting a fresh coat of paint on essentially a proposal he's been making for the better part of the last 3 years. He's going to introduce a paradigm shift today, proposing expansion of skills-based visas offset by new restrictions on extended family members' visas.
Yeah, a merit-based immigration system. It would, give preference to highly skilled and educated individuals.
Right. I mean, we're running in place, aren't we? For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by John Daniel Davidson, senior contributor at the Federalist, contributor to the Journal, National Review, Texas Monthly. He had a good piece in the Federalist the other day that we made mention of on the humanitarian and security crisis at the border is exactly what many U.S. pols want. John Daniel Davidson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Before we get to your piece, President Trump's new, in quotation, immigration plan, I mean, is this akin to Beto O'Rourke relaunching his campaign? I mean, you're sort of doing Weekend at Bernie's theater here.
Well, look, there's only so many new ideas about immigration out there. The fact is we haven't had immigration reform, any kind of real immigration reform, since 1965. So pretty much every idea for reforming our immigration system has been floated. The difference is, we haven't really had the political will or the desire in either party to do anything about it. So I will credit the administration and credit the president for at least pushing on the issue and trying to articulate what a totally revamped and reformed 21st century immigration system should look like, and kind of going on the record. That's something that most other presidents and administrations, and certainly the leaders of either party, have not been willing to do.
But here we go with Trump. I mean, this proposal leaves out what to do about the deferred action for childhood arrivals, DACA, and how long are we going to keep kicking that can down the road? Because President Obama, too, didn't act when he could have, when he had control of the House and Senate as well.
Yeah, but the fact that they don't act when their party has control of both houses of the legislature tells you everything you need to know about the priorities of our political elites, and not just our political elites, but business leaders, Chamber of Commerce types. They like illegal immigration. They like cheap foreign labor. And that's a bipartisan desire on right there. But the DACA thing, I think, is I understand politically why he would want to table that and just deal with the immigration system and the visa system. It's sort of a hot potato, and if he offers sort of amnesty for DACA, he's going to lose a lot of the people on the right. And so he's trying to thread a needle that may not be able to be threaded, but I understand tactically why he would leave it out.
Well, right. And also, to be fair to the president, he's put Dreamers on the table and then some, frankly, to deal on that issue in exchange for border barrier funding, and Democrats aren't interested. So it's not like he's been intransigent on the topic.
Yeah, there's nothing to gain by including that at this point.
So your piece in the Federalist that I referenced, we know of the inaction you described for the last 50 years, but you sort of start to dig into the why there is inaction in both parties, and why, despite all of the reporting and even the concessions by old media D.C. press corps outlets, New York Times, about at least the humanitarian crisis on the border, little is done to change the dynamic at the border.
That's right. We got to understand most illegal immigration, and that includes a lot of the asylum seekers at the border. The reality is a lot of the people who are seeking asylum are not being persecuted for their political views or their membership in a social group or something. They're economic migrants. They're impoverished. They're coming here for a better life. Their farms have been destroyed by drought or what have you, but they know they can get in by claiming asylum if they bring a child. But the fact is, illegal immigration has always been primarily about the movement of labor. And there used to be a time in this country where we were able to have labor come in and come out as needed, with what was called the Bracero program from about 1942 to 1964. Mass illegal immigration really began once that program ended, because you essentially had all these people who were legally contracted overnight became illegal immigrants. And that was done by organized labor in this country. And since then, big business has continued to profit off cheap illegal labor. And that has been the story of the border, and that's been the story of our immigration system ever since then. And there's a reason, that's why we don't have immigration reform, because people benefit from the status quo.
But
that's the reality nobody wants to talk about.
Isn't this an opportunity, though, for Trump then to include a guest worker program as part of his paradigm shift, particularly with the tight labor market, historically low unemployment, to say, hey, look, we need more people. There's data out about the declining birth rate in Americans, 32-year low. And so, look, we need more people in here. So let's do it on a temporary basis. Let's make it all nice and legal-like, and people can come in and come out. And that should be part of our rethinking our immigration legal regime.
Yeah, I think so. And again, the problem is, unless you persuade a lot of hardcore immigration people on the right, you're going to lose them on this issue, because not a lot of people understand the dynamic. And admittedly, that's partly because of the way we talk about it, and partly because it's been this way for so long. But look, we do need high-skilled labor. We need an immigration system that looks a lot more like New Zealand and Australia and Canada's, where the most of their immigration is employment-based. It's based on what their economy needs. That's what we need. But it's not just high-skilled immigration. With unemployment this low, we also need low-skilled immigration, especially here in Texas. We need low and mid-skilled workers, foreign workers, to come in and fill jobs that need to be filled. That's a hard case to make, but it's also the reality. So it's worth trying to make that case.
And another reality that you mentioned in your piece when you talked about how dangerous it is for people trying to get to the United States.
That's right. It's incredibly dangerous. I get these press releases every day from U.S. Customs and Border Protection about these terrible stories of people drowning, almost drowning, finding little kids lost in cornfields with phone numbers written on their shoes. It's a dangerous business, and there's a lot of money being made on the south side of the border by smuggling organizations and drug cartels that are profiting to the tune of billions of dollars a year off of illegal immigration. It's become a business model for them. The factions of the Gulf Cartel in Reynosa, which is right across the river from McAllen, Texas, it's the number one thing they do. They make more money off smuggling migrants than they do off drugs right now.
He is John Daniel Davidson, senior contributor at the Federalist. He also is a contributor to the Wall Street Journal, National Review, Texas Monthly, and The Guardian. His column in the Federalist that we were discussing, Illegal Immigration Creates Mass Misery That U.S. Leaders Don't Want to Fix. Check it out at thefederalist.com. John Daniel Davidson, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer.